Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Starcraft 2 England cast. Today I have got another game from the TLO replay pack released on teamliquidpro.com, and it is the third game between TLO and WhiteRa. Forgetting to hide the timer there, that no one saw anything, it's fine. So if we take a look here, that is going to be Game of Drones, aka TLO, in the bottom left position, spawning as the blue ZvP player, and we've got WhiteRa as the red Protoss player, spawning in the top right. Now, both of these players are doing pretty well so far. If you haven't watched the other two games, go and give them a watch. They're both really fun, interesting games to see. And TLO just gonna have to try and do something creative here. I mean, if you haven't watched the other two games, go and watch them now, otherwise you will get some spoilers with regards to what happens, but you've had fair warning. So TLO in the previous game actually went for a proxy hatchery and spine crawler rogue strange rush thing against WhiteRa, and WhiteRa did a valiant job holding it off for a long time with cannons and zealots and eventually stalkers and sentries, but eventually did die. So I mean, WhiteRa gonna have to do something quite creative here. And likewise, so will TLO, because in the previous match, TLO played fairly straight up, and TLO just going for the very early pull, but it will get scouted out by WhiteRa. And I mean, once you've seen that super early pull, you know to just get that wall off. It's a big area to wall off, so this could be a bit of a problem for WhiteRa. He's just going to straight away throw down the forge, and he's going to have to get cannons up. He's going to have to get this wall off really complete extra fast, because if TLO does decide just to push in with a lot of Zerglings, it could be quite difficult to hold, and that really is the risk of getting this forge fast expand, is if you do come up against an early pull, it can be very difficult to hold it. But both players are now really just going to have a little micro competition with their workers. I think so far TLO was coming out better there, so the probe is going to run away, and straight away 6 Zerglings are on the way out now, and WhiteRa did see those start to hatch, but going for the Nexus anyway, which is bold, really bold move, could actually cost him the game, because trying to defend this is going to be a nightmare. Obviously, those 6 Zerglings are on their way, building a cannon now, but there's no wall off, and if that cannon doesn't get done very quickly, then I mean, the Zerglings could slip by. Also, that cannon I don't actually think will be in range to defend any attacks from up here. A gateway now coming down as well, so this wall off semi-complete, but there's still a gap here. I do believe, yep, there is a gap there, so the Zerglings can just run through, and the Zerglings are now coming in. That cannon is not quite done yet, so TLO will be able to skirt around, having to get that. It's not even another cannon, it's another pylon there, and TLO just going to skirt these Zerglings around. Meanwhile, he's droning and getting his own expansion behind this, and these probes are positioning themselves to wall off the ramp, and I mean that means that the Zerglings will stay in range of the cannon, so great play by WhiteRa here in defending this super early pull. And I mean, it shut it down completely. If WhiteRa doesn't take any damage, or very little damage at least from this, then it's not going to be a good position for TLO to be in, because he invested so much in getting these early Zerglings out and has done literally nothing with them. And now this gateway's down, I think the probe can actually complete the wall off there, and obviously that would mean that there's no way for TLO to get into the main base of WhiteRa to do any damage or even get any scouting information. So TLO now trying to move forward. That gateway has been cancelled because there is a zealot out as well, so those Zerglings are pretty much going to be forced back, and no damage has been taken yet by WhiteRa. WhiteRa ahead in the food count as well. TLO trying to get this back by just really quickly taking his third base. His natural only just up, transferring some drones, getting more queens out. Actually not getting more queens out, he's only got the 1 queen, and that means his production is going to be quite significantly behind. And now managing to take out that zealot there with those Zerglings, only taking 1 loss as well, so that was quite a big win there for TLO. But that second zealot is out, and I mean, if we go to the loss tab, I mean, it's slightly in favour of TLO, but only fractionally, and that's just from the cancels. So I apologise for the misclick there, but taking a look around the map, we've just got both gases coming out now for WhiteRa. We have got a cybernetics core as well coming down, kind of boosting our probes, and it's all pretty standard if we take a look at what is happening. And this third hatchery, very, very normal response to the Protoss getting his natural out, because obviously you want to get one base up on a Protoss player as a Zerg at all points. And having said that though, the first gas only just being taken, now second gas as well for TLO, so no speed, no tech at all, and he invested so heavily in that early pull that he could be a long way behind very, very quickly, because obviously he did essentially no damage from that really, really early pressure. But this third hatch is down now, which will allow TLO to start macroing up, start getting those drones he is famous for, but hasn't actually set his rally point up yet for this hatchery. So there we go, a couple of seconds missed mining time, and there are 2 zealots coming out now, and this could actually do quite a lot of damage. There aren't enough Zerglings in order to deal with this. The Queen could go down as well. Going to have good micro with the Zerglings and the Queen. Enough Zerglings are now out if you include the Queen as well in this fight. But the Zealots, very, very correctly, just trying to prevent this round. But a lot of Zerglings are coming in, and great micro there by TLO, trying to keep the Zerglings alive for as long as possible, and actually took incredibly few losses there. I mean, only about 2 or 3 Zerglings killed as a whole. So that was very, very good defense by TLO. Meanwhile, WhiteRa getting 3 more gateways out, a 4th and 5th gateway there. So it is going to be a 6-gate push from WhiteRa. It's going to be very, very strong, because obviously TLO invested, as I said, so much in getting that super early pull out. He will have lost a lot of his early economy, and getting a spine crawler out at his natural and his third. But again, if this big push does come out, which he has scouted essentially from this Overlord, but he doesn't know about the 3 gateways in the main base, a Twilight Council as well, so it's going to be a 6-gate blink play most probably, morphing in those warp gates as we speak. And I think that, yep, here goes the forward pylon, just looking around to try and spot that. So there is a forward pylon in position. These Zerglings are going to poke and pod around, and if they do find that pylon, then yep, there they go. So this is going to delay the push, at least for quite a while. So really, really is going to try and allow WhiteRa to get out any units. But I mean, I think he is actually going to successfully walk it through. A Stalker does go down, but there's a lot of Zealots warping out now, and those sentries are going to take some damage, but none going down because of the amazing force fields by WhiteRa there, just keeping all of those sentries alive, and a lot of Zealots, and warping in more units now. Obviously, 6 warp gates can get you a lot of units very, very quickly. Meanwhile, just more spine crawlers going down for TLO here, harassing with Zerglings, but I mean, there's just too much stuff, and this pylon is in a great position, no high ground vision, and will allow warp out, actually cancelling, so no pylon going down there as of yet. And I do apologise, one of my buttons on my keyboard is being really, really dodgy, and if I touch it even slightly, it brings up the menu, because it's the escape key. So I have got to be careful to stop that. I may actually need to get a new keyboard, which would be rather frustrating. And some great force fields going down there for WhiteRa, just going to do a lot of damage to those roaches. One does go down, one at full health, and now the only advantage is obviously roaches are very, very strong against both Zealots and Sentries, and there's hardly any Stalkers, but Stalkers are now being warped in. 3 just getting quickly warped in, and more coming in from the main base. So WhiteRa really, really committing to this attack, but TLO, he's got a lot of drones out, he's got 4 gas, he's got full saturation at his main, pretty much full saturation, not quite 1 drone missing there at his natural, and getting more, his 5th and 6th gas also down as well now, but this is a really scary army for WhiteRa. Meanwhile, TLO just saying, well, fine, come and kill me, come at me, bro. I'm going to go and kill you. And that could be very, very effective. There is only the 1 cannon there, and just a lot of Zerglings. It is going to force WhiteRa to move back, but I mean, he's so far behind in terms of positioning, and just a lot of roaches there. The roaches do have speed as well, and +1 ranged attack down. 1 gateway does fall. No, not actually the gateway, sorry. The cybernetic score going down now, so no more Stalkers for WhiteRa at the moment. But I mean, he's got such a big army, some great force fields, picking off a couple of units, a really good offensive blink, which will allow a couple more roaches to get sniped, and TLO actually trying to take his 4th base now, and some good overlord creep spread there, just allowing the extra speed of his units to try and get a better surround, and a good move forward there, but a great blink back as well, and the force fields are going to prevent some of the roaches getting into play. Not the best force fields ever, but just creating some small choke points and some good blink micro on the stalkers, just trying to keep as many alive as possible. But TLO just has too much stuff, and he could actually straight out win here. I mean, if he gets a good surround with those Zerglings on the stalkers, he can do big damage, blinking away again, and WhiteRa just has to get these stalkers back safely. And I mean, TLO is getting up to 150 food to only the 90 of WhiteRa essentially, so he is getting a long way behind. Obviously that 4th base is going to be critical. It is a 3-base Zerg against a 2-base Protoss, and no sign of WhiteRa trying to take that 3rd base anytime soon. The 4th base of TLO has just finished, and these roaches just applying more and more pressure, managing to snipe out a couple more stalkers. Now obviously the roaches do have speed, and on creep are slightly quicker than those stalkers quite considerably, so can get forward to get some good attacks off. But TLO just moving his units forward. Meanwhile WhiteRa having to get a good defensive position, trying to build a robotics facility, has rebuilt his cybernetics core. And I mean, it'll be interesting to see if he can hold this. I'm beginning to doubt myself whether it was a cybernetics core which died. It must have been a gateway. I'm just being blind, but either way, WhiteRa does have all of his tech up that he needs to deal with this, and that Immortal which is coming out now is going to be essential. Obviously Immortals are brilliant against roaches, and a good surround there for TLO, going to be able to do a lot of damage. The force fields are actually pinning in WhiteRa himself, and this is just brilliant. But such a good blink up onto the high ground. No vision because there isn't an overlord there, but the forge is getting focus fired down, and the roaches are coming in, but just more warpins are coming. As you can see, that Immortal is getting focus fired down, didn't manage to do anything, and now there are some overseers in position for TLO to give vision of the high ground. And I mean, this isn't looking good for WhiteRa. He's a long way behind, nearly at half the supply of TLO at the moment, and I mean, if he deals with this, it's going to be extremely difficult. There's roaches everywhere, trying to focus down that cybernetics core, and I mean, if that does fall, as it did just then, TLO is in such a strong position because he's just stopped any more stalkers coming out, and obviously roaches versus zealots are incredibly good, but there's a lot of stalkers there at the moment. But meanwhile, these Zerglings just focus firing down the 2nd base of WhiteRa. That Nexus will go down, and obviously now it is a 4-base Zerg against a 1-base Protoss, which is not a good position for WhiteRa to be in going into the sort of 17-minute mark. And that robotic facility should stay alive and should be able to get that Immortal out. Now that Immortal is going to be incredibly important to just keeping WhiteRa alive at the moment, but WhiteRa now having to rebuild his natural base, and I think tunneling claws are actually done now for these roaches. If we take a quick look, where is his roach one? Yep, so we've got tunneling roaches as well. Pathogen glands are on the way, hive is on the way as well now, so TLO is in such a strong position here. He's got great overlord spread, and this 3rd base for WhiteRa coming out, but it's going to be so difficult for him to defend that because he's got hardly any units on the field at all, apart from these few stalkers and an Immortal. But it is enough to force it back, but his main base is pretty much mined out now as we speak. But I mean, TLO's just got so much stuff, over double the supply of WhiteRa now, and about to max out as well. Obviously once he is maxed out, he can just start throwing away roaches, and there is the GG from WhiteRa. Brilliant play by TLO there, just keeping on the pressure, and it was all because he didn't die to the 6-gate pretty much all in of WhiteRa. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the game, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Twitter, that is at SC2_England. I'm going to try and cast some more of these WhiteRa TLO games, as well as the rest of the TLO replay pack. So keep an eye out for them, and hope to see you soon.